Okay, we're back. We're here again at the Cafe Grande in Moodling for another week of Touchdown NFL football talk. I'm your host, Joel Turpin, along with my co-hosts David Asselin and Martin Marhold. And we're going to start off by doing a summary, a little recap of some of the key games from the last weekend, the games that were shown in this market. Up first is the Thursday night game, the Jets at New England. David?
Well, I predicted this would be a closer game, as my colleagues did last week. They both thought the Patriots would blow them out by 2 scores. I knew defensively it wouldn't turn out this way. And Tom Brady seems to be very frustrated this season. Unlike other seasons, he's always had a core of receivers to go to, and this year has absolutely no one. I think it's other than throwing to a wide open Dobson in the first half. The Patriots never seem to get an air game going. Patriots are lucky to walk out with a victory, and it's only accredited to the defense, I do believe.
Martin?
Yeah, of course they're missing Amendola, they're missing Gronkowski, they missed Vereen, who's gone to the IR. So Tom Brady was left with 3 tight ends and 4 wide receivers. 3 of those were rookies. So yeah, it gave him a tough time, and you could see that he was fed up at times. But I don't think that's the only concern. We had punt festivals in the first half of the game. We had 11 drives ending with a punt out of 17. We had troubles in the red zone all through the game. I think we had 1 score only through the game that came from a red zone possession. And that was a field goal by the Jets by Nick Folk. Still, it was not close to the NFL record of 31 punts, but 20 is a lot for nowadays game.
They had a
And
total
the
of 20
records.
points in the game.
Pardon?
20 points total in the game.
20 punts.
20 punts.
Punts, yeah.
And that was more punts than well, no, not quite more punts than points, but close enough, I think.
So that's what
Yeah,
I realized.
so I really not the game I would have expected. I thought that the Jets would be bad, and I think they were. What I didn't expect is that also the Patriots are kind of, well, in a slump. I predicted the Pats would win their division easily before the first week. And
Having second thoughts on that now?
well, I'm having second thoughts. I'm thinking the Patriots won't even make the playoffs if they continue playing like that.
Oh, that's a big one.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a big one.
Let me
All right,
digest that
yeah.
a little bit.
I think that's really enough said on the Jets at New England.
Although I do say that Geno Smith did not play the same game he played last week. He threw 3 interceptions in that game and was totally under pressure all day long. I think the Patriots have a good defense, an underrated defense, and that's the only reason they won these last 2 games.
All right. Well,
I think they got handed the game, just like the Jets got handed the game the week before. The Jets won the week before on a stupid late hit out of bounds. This time the Patriots won by 3 really bad interceptions by Geno Smith in the last few minutes of the game. So actually the Jets should have walked away with it.
Yes, I will agree with that.
all right. Another game that ended up being very close, although much higher scoring than the previous one. Minnesota at Chicago, with Chicago pulling out a 1-point victory at the very end. Exciting, but also, to my mind, very, at times, inept. Lots of penalties, lots of drop balls, lots of balls rolling around on the ground. To me, it was a very ugly game.
Yeah, I think the Vikings, they had a ponderous performance.
Yeah.
He completed just a little bit more than half of his passes, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. On the good side, he went to 8 different receivers, so obviously he's able to scan through his receivers, go through his progressions and find them. Still, you have to complete more than half of your passes. That's absolutely in a passing league like nowadays. Even if you have Adrian Peterson, you have to complete more passes.
He still rushed 400 yards.
Well, actually, exactly 100 yards this
Exactly.
time.
Exactly.
I was preparing my lines and I was thinking, okay, he's gonna go below 100 yards again, but then.
But the
another
Chicago
score.
Bears, Matt Forte, almost ran 400. He was stride for stride. Played almost the same game as Peterson. I think that Cutler won the game for them in the end, clutched it in for him in the end.
Yeah, he was good.
There was no love lost between these two division rivals, whether they're playing terrible or whether they're playing good. Minnesota and Chicago always played knockout football.
I think everybody loved the start of the game. Actually, it started with a 106-yard kickoff return touchdown. And when I was sitting in the sports bar watching it, and everybody was like, "Okay, now it's Hester, and he's gonna do the same." And when he actually ran it back for 76 yards, it was close. It was really looking like we were gonna begin the game like 20 seconds into the game time with a 7-7 score. Close enough, he didn't do it, but it was a great game. And Cutler sometimes has been said he's not the clutch player. He tends to lose his nerves, lose his composure, whatever. He turned around the second game in 2 games this season, so maybe we're seeing the Cutler that we saw in Denver sometimes again. I don't know.
It's like the Bears. Bears fans are going to see the good Cutler, they're going to see the bad Cutler. And Sunday they saw the good Cutler, the good Jay.
Let's jump ahead and talk about San Francisco at Seattle. Because this was a pretty highly anticipated game, one of the biggest ones of the week, one of the biggest ones of the year in a lot of ways. Because at least if you're an NFC West fan, as our friend Martin is, you expect that this is one of the 2 or 3 games that could come down to deciding the division on the year.
Well, the game wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Wasn't even.
Well, I think it was closer than the score looks like, but still, I feel like there's a monkey slowly crawling on the Niners' back, because also last year the Week 16 game against the Seahawks, when actually it was about winning the division, the 49ers put up one of the worst performances of the year. Until then, still they made it to the Super Bowl, of course, but it could be deciding the NFC West already this early in the season, so let's see what happens there.
Well, Seattle proved that they do have the #1 defense in the NFL. They kept Kaepernick on his heels all day long, kept him trapped in the pocket, kept his receivers busy. There was never an open receiver for Kaepernick. A lot like Cam Newton, when these mobile quarterbacks can juggle around, then they're totally out of their sync, totally out of the game.
Monday night, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, not a whole lot to say about this from my point of view, other than the fact that if Pittsburgh doesn't start running the ball, it's going to be a long season for the Steelers.
Yeah, all sorts of problems for Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. But the Bengals, give the Bengals credit. They played a good, balanced football game, good air attack, good running game, kept Denver's defense on the field most of the game. And when you don't have a defense, you don't want the worst part of your team on the field most of the time. And Big Ben just didn't seem to get into sync. Normally Big Ben can take over a game going in late in the 3rd quarter, but he just couldn't seem to get into sync in the game on Monday night.
I think the only positive thing you can say about the Steelers game on Monday was that Velasco, the replacement center they picked up from free agency, fits in well for Pouncey. So this seems to be all right for them. But other than that, if your team overall has less rushing yards than Alex Smith as a quarterback as alone, then you're in trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think Ben Jarvis Green has found a nice second home.
All right.
Playing in
coming up next, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the upcoming games for this next weekend for Week 3 in the NFL. And we'll get going with that in just a moment. All right, let's talk about the early games on the ticket. The first one up, Green Bay at Cincinnati. Martin?
Well, this is going to go Green Bay all the way. They had a stellar performance last week against Washington, and also the first week performance against San Francisco was a very good one. So I think this is going to be Green Bay all the way. And also Cincinnati didn't do as good as they should have.
Okay, I also think Green Bay is going to take it. I'm sold on the Packers offense after watching that last game, but I'm not completely sold on Cincinnati, other than some surprisingly solid running in the second half by Bernard Scott.
Well, Green Bay does have some defensive issues and some problems they have to deal with because people are running the game on the Packers and they're also passing on the Packers. I think it maybe could come down to turnovers, but I would not be surprised if the Bengals won. I don't think they're going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals won at home. I think it's going to be a closer game than most people realize.
St. Louis at Dallas.
This is a tough one. We haven't seen a lot from Dallas. They beat the Giants in the first week when Eli Manning was going that he likes interceptions better than touchdowns. They lost at Kansas. Well, St. Louis, unsurprisingly, lost in Atlanta. So both are coming off a defeat, and I think Dallas, the home field advantage, will give them the edge.
Yeah, I think Dallas will take it too. I think St. Louis is really not going to be so strong for the season. I'm going with Dallas.
I'm going to blow you all away and say St. Louis takes this game by a field goal. I think St. Louis has got a better defense than most people realize. I think their quarterback is coming of age, and it just depends which Tony Romo is going to show up for the game and which Dallas defense is going to show up for the game. And I think, believe it or not, I'm probably going to end up eating my words next week, but I see St. Louis coming in and winning this game.
Okay, Dave, what do you think about San Diego at Tennessee?
Tennessee. Got to give it to Tennessee. I think Tennessee has probably one of the best defenses in the NFL right now. They certainly proved it with the Texans last week. And
I'm going to go with San Diego. I have been surprised at the kind of offense they've been able to generate so far.
Yeah, it depends on if we see a breakdown by San Diego again in the second half. But unless we see that, then I'm also with San Diego for the game.
Okay. Cleveland at Minnesota. Martin?
Whoa, tough one. But after scoring 31 points, or no, was it 30 in the last game, they were better than I thought. And I think they will beat Cleveland just as long as they don't have a competent quarterback at the Browns. They won't win a lot of games.
Dave?
I have to go with Martin. They're playing in Minnesota. Tough to play in Minnesota. Diehard fans. Cleveland does have quarterback issues. And I see the Browns starting at 0-3. Situation normal in Cleveland.
I think Minnesota, yeah, they're due for a win, even with Ponder throwing the ball somewhat dubiously. But yeah, I think Minnesota takes this one at home. We'll see a big game out of AP all day, and I think that's what's happening this time around.
Exactly.
Tampa Bay at New England. On this one, I'm gonna take a stab at it first. I think New England squeaks one out, but it's going to be due to some sort of Tampa Bay error at the last possible moment. A pass interference, a fumble, something. They'll find a way to lose it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. New England, Tom Brady's having receiver problems right now. The offense just isn't in sync. I think New England Patriots will keep them in the game, but I think I have to agree with you 100%. I think it'll be closer than most people think, even though they are playing in Foxborough, and I've been to Foxborough 100 times, and it is very hostile territory when you go to Foxborough, no matter who you're playing.
Sure enough.
Yeah, for me too, just as I said, I don't think New England is going to go to the playoffs. Still, they're going to start 3-0 because of the easy schedule they have the first part of the season. The tough part of their season will start in week 4 when they go to Atlanta. But until then, they're going to be 3-0.
And is New Orleans also going to pick up another win this week as they host Arizona?
Yes, they will. Yes, definitely they will. New Orleans really looks bright to me. They have been very competent on the offensive side. Their defense improved a lot from last year, so I don't see Arizona coming close.
I don't either. I see Drew Brees having a great game. 400 yards.
No, I think we're all in agreement here that this could really be a New Orleans blowout at home for the fans. Detroit at Washington. Time for RG3 to get off the schneid. Is it finally a win for?
Nah, RG3 is not mobile at the moment. I don't know if any of you actually watched the game, but they had to replace his knee brace once and adjust it. He's just not. He's stuck in the pocket. He can't seem to. He doesn't seem to have any receivers that are responding to him. The Washington's defense is also a little weak at the moment. I don't see Washington pulling this one off.
I do. They,
Do you?
in a very tough NFC East, they are already with the back against the wall. They need to win this one, I think, to stay in competition, and that's why they will do it.
Well, the Giants are 0-2. Dallas is 1-1.
Yeah, still, but you need to win
Yeah, the
these
one-on-one,
games. You need to win against Detroit if you want to have a
These
competitive
these
season in the
non-divisional
NFC
games,
East. So.
yes. Yeah, okay.
I think the mastermind finds a way to get this one going for Washington. We might see some really heavy doses of Alfred Morris, provided he can hold on to the ball.
Provided
And,
he can hold on to the ball, yes.
And
Good point there, yes.
and then we see Washington take one, and I actually don't see it being particularly close. I think they're going to take it in a good solid landslide. New York Giants at Carolina.
Somebody's gonna pick up his first win of the season there. So unless we have a tie, I'll go with the Giants here. Eli Manning has already thrown for over 800 yards in 2 games, so he's gonna go 6,400 if he keeps the pace, which I don't think he will. But still, he just needs to cut the interceptions. He has had 7, I think, in the season already.
Yeah, 3 last week and 4 on opening day, so yeah.
Yeah, so but still, I think they're the better team currently, so I'll go with the Giants here.
Well, Martin, I can't add much to that. I think it's Eli's game. I think they're going in Carolina to play. They're playing away from New York, and I see the Giants coming away with I think it'll probably be closer than people think.
It will be close.
But I see the Giants pulling off a win, and this is also a must-win for the Giants. They can't start 0-3 in this division.
While my gut says that the Giants probably should win that one, I'm going to go with Carolina just to be contrary. And the last game of the early part of the session is one that we're highlighting, going to be shown locally. Houston at Baltimore. Last year, of course, these were 2 of the teams to beat in the AFC, and they're both have hopes for that again this year. Houston's looking pretty good. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's Houston's. Baltimore is not even showing up with a defense. I think they could have a hard time beating the Jaguars right now if they had to. I see Houston played a tough game last week, almost lost it in overtime to the Titans. They do show some weakness a little bit in the defense, but I don't think by playing Baltimore, there's nothing to worry about. Houston walks out.
I haven't seen the stout defense that they expected from the Texans actually, but I got the Ravens that I expected before the season when they lost so many starters. So I'm gonna go the Texans here too.
Let's make it a 3 for all. I think that Houston is more solid than Baltimore in a lot of phases right now, and while it wouldn't surprise me to see the Ravens there at the end of the season, they aren't there yet. And now we're ready to talk about the later games on the schedule. Sunday afternoon games kick off with Atlanta at Miami, a game that sure looks a lot closer than we thought when we originally saw the schedule. Martin?
Yeah, if you had asked me before week 1, I'd say Atlanta, Miami won't stand a chance. But Miami seems to be kind of the surprise team of the league currently. So might be a tough one, but I still trust the Atlanta offense more than I do trust the Miami offense and defense. So I'll go Atlanta.
Got Atlanta playing in my eye. Gonna go with Miami on this one, I'm afraid. Tannehill has stepped it up a notch this season. He's got a great receiving core in Wallace and help me. Charles Clay and Mike Wallace. They both had 100-yard games last week, playing a tough Indianapolis. I see Miami squeaking this one out. Close one, but I see Miami winning this game at home and making a statement to the New England Patriots and saying, we are here.
I'm going to go with my boy touchdown Tony G and the Atlanta Falcons because that was my Super Bowl pick, and they got to win this one to keep pace in the South. Buffalo at the Jets. Couple of wins on the board. It actually does matter at this point still, so let's see what everybody thinks about this one.
Well, I'd say Buffalo, because Buffalo is my pick for the AFC East. Don't look like that. I knew it would be a surprise for you.
Yes.
But I actually like Buffalo. I've seen the games until now, and they looked better than I would have expected before the season. So yeah, and the Jets, they still have miscues in their offense and in their defense every now and then. So I think it's gonna be Buffalo
I say
on the
that
road.
I say that the Jets still have Geno Smith and Buffalo has Buffalo Wings, which I like better. Gonna go with Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm going to make it unanimous. I'm going to go with Buffalo as well. Martin addressed the issues they're facing on both offense and defense, and they just seem totally out of sync right now. They're just not playing NFL football.
Okay, another one of our highlight games, Indianapolis at San Francisco. We're looking for a big bounce back from the 49ers this week, or some more problems?
They will bounce back. They will. They always had a hard time to go to Seattle. They played very well last season at home. Also, the first game at the back with the Packers at home was very good. So I think they're gonna bounce back, and we're gonna see the 49ers from week 1, not the 49ers from week 2.
Yeah, I see San Francisco pressuring Luck all day long. I see San Francisco bouncing back from which is in reality an embarrassing loss in Seattle last week, where their offense didn't hardly ever move the ball hardly at all. I think they were only in the red zone a couple of times in the whole game and only managed a field goal, which is totally un-San Francisco 49er like. Yeah, I see, but I see the San Francisco bouncing back and winning this one easily.
Yeah, I too see this being a game I would not want to be a part of if I was one of the Colts, because I think it's going to be a big game from the 49ers. I think we're going to see a lot of points rung up there at home. A big game from Colin Kaepernick, and it's going to be a blowout for the
I see the defense
Niners.
stepping it up a notch this week.
Jacksonville at Seattle. Can we agree on this one and not really talk about it much? 1, 2, 3. Seattle.
Next game.
Next. And then up next, we're looking at the evening game on Sunday night, Chicago at Pittsburgh. A very crucial game on the Steelers' schedule. Chicago, of course, is undefeated. Pittsburgh has yet to win a game, and we'd like to see something more out of the Steelers, I suppose, if we're going to see them win something. What do you think, Martin?
Absolutely true. Absolutely. They have to take the next step if they want to pull this one off. Chicago played well, not stellar, so they also have room for improvement. But as I said before, they pulled off 2 comeback wins already. So even if they are behind during the game at halftime or whenever, they will come back and they will win this game.
Well, I've got Chicago winning this game easily. I don't see Pittsburgh prepared to play in Chicago. They're having defensive problems. Ben seemed like he was totally out of sync playing right now. Cutler, if the good Jay comes next week, then they'll win. If the bad Jay comes, I'll give it to Pittsburgh. But I see Chicago winning this one easily at home. And Mike Tomlin starting for the first time in his career 0-3.
Well, it's actually in Pittsburgh. I don't know if that
That's all.
changes things, but
Well, sorry about that, but regardless, I still see Chicago winning this game.
I'm once again going to continue to ride my completely pointless Pittsburgh bandwagon and say that sooner or later I've got to be right. Sooner or later Pittsburgh has to win a game, and I say it's this week. I don't see Chicago as a 3-0 team. I think they're gonna find a way to come back to the crowd a little bit, and I think there were times in that game where Pittsburgh looked decent. They don't have a running game, and if they can find a way to establish even just a little bit, take some of the pressure off of Big Ben, he would stop overthrowing his receivers, and we might see a little bit.
You think so?
A little bit better. Well, yeah, that's what I think. We've seen it in years past. He's not the.
Well, they've got offensive line problems in Pittsburgh right now because Ben is under a lot of pressure the first 2 games.
Yeah, but he's always had the problem that he's taking way too much time, at least for what it's worth for me.
And way too much responsibility.
So there's no O-line in the world that can hold for like 20 seconds. So if you take 20 seconds to throw a ball, then you'll be sacked.
Every time.
Okay, Dave, we got a Monday night game coming up. Oakland at Denver. What do you think about this one?
Boy, this is Denver all the way. I mean, Peyton Manning just looks like the Peyton Manning of old. He's got a core. He's probably got the best core of receivers right now in the NFL, or if not, he's making them look like they're the best core receivers in the NFL. Oakland, surprisingly, has looked good the first 2 games, but they're not going to go into Mile High and win against Peyton Manning and the boys. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, as an AFC West fan, as a Chiefs fan, I'm of course rooting for the tie. I don't really see that happening, but it's worth a try. Barring some sort of, well, we're in Europe, so
Yes,
football
okay.
sometimes ends in a tie here. This is how it happens.
Does it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the rumor says. Barring anything crazy happening, obviously Denver is the prohibitive favorite and should have no problem taking out Oakland. And I don't see Terrell Pryor being such a change in things that they're able to.
Yeah, but
pull this off.
he's up and coming. I see him. He's a great fantasy pick. If anyone has got him on his fantasy team,
Well, there's only one thing that might be the interesting matchup there is the Denver defense against the mobile quarterback, which they're playing the first time this season.
okay, yeah, that's
A really mobile quarterback.
Very good.
So we'll see how they will deal with him. And
So,
still,
you're picking
Denver,
Oakland then?
no. No way, sorry, no.
Sure.
I just tried to find a good point for Oakland, but they're not experienced enough to beat a team like Denver in the form that they're playing now, in the form that Peyton Manning is playing. He's playing an All-Pro year.
Yeah, he's incredible this year.
He's a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, and he's playing just like one currently. So absolutely no way that Oakland's gonna pull this off.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. I think that's about it for this weekend's wrap up and discussion of events in the NFL. Thank you for joining us here on Touchdown, and we look forward to seeing the games with you and talking about them next week. Bye.
See you
See
next
ya.
week.